Hello everybody, welcome to Style Hannah, or welcome back. We have a really cool beginner sewing project video today. We're going to be making a shirred elastic boob tube top, the one that I'm wearing now. It is super easy, but it is so effective, and honestly it looks like it is a very complex, very expensive garment, but it literally took me an hour. It was so easy. You don't even need a pattern. You just need two measurements that are your own, and I'll show you what else we need to complete this project. First things first, we're going to need some fabric. Now, fabric choice is going to make or break your project. You don't want to choose a fabric that has elastic in it already. You would rather choose maybe like a cotton or a linen, something that doesn't have a lot of stretch and can be gathered quite nicely. Also, maybe stay away from very silky fabrics that might slip when you are sewing. You want a nice, stable, easy fabric that can be ironed nicely and can go through your machine quite easily. So I've chosen a cotton for this project. It's got some floral details on it. I did make my first one with a gingham, and if you do have a pattern with lines on it, it is a little bit of an easier way to do your shirring, because you can just follow the pattern. You don't have to draw lines, whereas for this fabric I will have to draw straight lines on where I want the shirring to go. So if you want to kind of take that step away, just pick a fabric that has horizontal lines that you can follow. Now the next thing that we are going to need is shirring elastic. I got these from Snippets up in Kloof. They sell white and black. They are 10 Rand for the elastic. You're only going to need one reel. So if you want to do a darker fabric, you can pick black. If you want to do a lighter fabric, you can pick white. However, you don't see the elastic, you see the top stitching thread. So in saying that, you need to pick a thread that is going to match your fabric. So I've got blue thread here. We need two bobbins, one for your shirring elastic and one for your actual thread. We need a measuring tape to get our measurements. We need some chalk or some form of marking, temporary marking, you don't want to use a pen, to draw lines on your fabric if you don't have a pattern that you can follow already. So I've just got yellow tailor's chalk. To make sure our lines are straight, you need a ruler and a nice good pair of fabric scissors. Let's get into taking our measurements. To make this top, we only need two measurements. We need your bust measurement and we need the length of how long you want your top. Now, this is going to require a bit of maths, but don't be put off. It's simple maths. I'm not a huge fan of numbers, but this is very easy to follow, so don't stress. Basically, what we need to do is we need to get our bust measurement. So when we take our bust measurement, you need some sort of tape measure that's got a bit of give to it. You don't want a super stiff one, because then you're not going to be able to go around your curves nicely. So what we do is we go over the bust like that and we meet in the middle. Now I'm going to be working in centimeters. Okay, so when I take my bust measurement, it is 87 centimeters. And when I take the length, so because it is going to be a boob tube, you do want to take it from there. You don't want to have it sitting too high, because then it can cause a bit of irritation underneath your arms. So yeah, from about there is fine. And I like it to sit just on the top of my jeans. So that is around 32 centimeters. Okay, now because we are going to be gathering the bust, we need to times it by 1.5. If you want a lot of extra gathers and to be quite poofy, you can times it by 2, but I wouldn't recommend timesing it more than that. Otherwise, it's just going to be quite a lot of fabric to handle. So I'm going to times this by 1.5. So we're going to get our phones. Remember when they said in school that we wouldn't have calculators in our pockets, so we would have to learn how to do maths? Little did they know, hey? Okay, so 87 times 1.5 equals 130.5. Okay, so that is how much fabric I need to cut long piece. Now the length, because we need to add seam allowance, we need 4 centimeters on the top and we need 4 centimeters added to the bottom, just because we fold it over and then we fold it again. So I'm going to go 32 plus 8, so that is 40 centimeters lengthwise, and that is it. That's literally all that you need. And now we're going to go to the fabric and I'm going to show you how to cut it out. So I have my fabric laid down on my cutting table, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bust measurements and divide it by 2. So we had our 87, which was my bust measurement, and we times it by 1.5 and we got 130.5. So now what I'm going to do, because we are going to cut on the fold, I'm going to go 130.5 divided by 2 is giving me 65.25. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to make it 65. So I'm going to fold my fabric in half. So here is my full fabric. I'm folding it in half, making sure that everything lines up. And I'm going to measure 65 centimeters from the fold. So I'm just going to grab this. Okay. So now I need to do my length. So my length is 40 centimeters, including the seam allowance. So from my little mark, I'm going to measure 40 centimeters. Which is here. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut out that fabric now. I've cut out my fabric, and this is literally all that you need. It's basically one big rectangle. There's no fancy shapes, one big rectangle, and that is it. Now if you have a look, it's quite a bit bigger than my circumference, so that's exactly what we need. And it's time to do the hemming. So what we're going to do for the hemming is we're going to fold over 1 centimeter, iron that down, and then we're going to fold over another centimeter and fold that down. And we want to fold towards the wrong side of your fabric, so not folding it out to where the fabric is all pretty. You want to fold it to where the wrong side is. So you folding it down like that, you'll iron that, and then you fold it down again, and then you'll have a nice neat edge. So I'm going to do that now. We need to do that all along the top and all along the bottom, just so it's a little bit easier when we are doing our shirring, that all of that will be done. Just my first little fold, you can see it's 1 centimeter, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold it over again and then just iron that down, and that way we don't really need pins, the fabric stays down, and it just makes the sewing process a lot easier. This is the wrong side of my fabric, so I'm folding towards my wrong side. I'm not folding to the right side, so we have a nice clean edge on the right side of the fabric. Okay, so I just finished ironing. This is the right side of the fabric, and as you can see, it's very neat and all the raw edges are folded in on the wrong side of the fabric, and this is the wrong side of the fabric. So if you have a look here, there is 1 centimeter there that has been folded and pressed, and then this is another centimeter that's been folded and pressed on the wrong side. So now all I have to do is just stitch along here, and then my hemming is done. Now that the hemming is done, I'm just going to press over the little hems just to make sure everything lies nice and flat. So what you should be left with now is our full rectangle, but with nice clean edges on both sides. The vertical seams are still raw, only the horizontal seams are fully pressed and stitched. So if you had a gingham print or a print with lines, as I said in the beginning, you wouldn't have to do this step. It's just if you have a pattern like this or a plain piece of fabric where we want to make sure that our shirring elastic is sewn on straight. So we're going to mark the right side of your fabric, not the wrong side, the right side. So the right side is where the print looks very vivid, and the wrong side is where it doesn't look vivid, it's a bit washed out, and the seams are folded onto the wrong side. So we're going to mark on the right side of the fabric. Now there's different types of shirring patterns that you can follow. You can do all gathered like this, where it's just leaving a small gap. You can do tight, where you're basically sewing maybe 1/2 centimeter away from each other, or you can do like 3 lines and then you leave a gap, and then there's 3 lines, leave a gap. There's a lot of different variations that you can do, but for the purpose of this video, we are just going to be doing a very simple shirring, leaving a centimeter gap, then doing shirring, centimeter gap, and we're going to do about 13 lines of shirring depending on your bust size. If you're unsure, just sew maybe 4 shirring, try it on, see where it's sitting, then add another 4, and you kind of just go like that so it fits you perfectly. Just measured 1 centimeter away from my hemline, and that is where I'm going to start my first line of shirring. What this will do is this will give a nice frill detail on the top of your blouse. I have just finished drawing my lines. I don't know if you can see the yellow lines. I did 13 lines across the whole length of the fabric, and when I put it up against my bust, I can see that it's the perfect amount of lines, which is great. This is definitely the most time-consuming part of this process, is marking all the lines out. We know that sewing requires a lot of prep, and if you go a bit too quickly and not take the time to get those lines right, your whole project's just gonna look a bit off. So take the time to do all the lines properly. I did have to do 1 or 2 a couple of times just to make sure, but what I think is the best is that you mark your lines on this side, you mark your lines on the opposite side, and then you do, let me show you how to load your machine with shirring elastic. So you're just going to take a normal empty bobbin like this, and I have my shirring elastic. I hope this is going to be enough. I think it will be. Let's try. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your shirring elastic and you're going to thread it just like how you would a normal bobbin. So there's a little hole at the top of your bobbin. You're going to put the elastic through there like that. Put the elastic into the bobbin like that, and then hold it down with your finger. Now when you hand wind the elastic, you don't want to have any tension. You just want to nice and easy roll it like this. You don't want it to be loose though, that it looks all gathered like that. You just want to keep it nice and steady. So all you're going to do is hand wind now. So just nice and easy. I'm not pulling the elastic out of shape. I'm just hand winding it as I go along. See, if I let the elastic go, the elastic on the bobbin doesn't fall out of shape. That's what we want. So I'm just going to finish winding this up, and then I'll show you how to put it in the machine. So I've just put it into my machine. I've put it into the little nook there, and I'm going to put it to the side like that. I'm going to put my bobbin plate on. This is very hard to do with one hand. Like that. Okay, now you're just going to thread it through like a normal bobbin. So you put your needle down. Just pulling the elastic through. Like so. Oh no. Okay, there you go. We've got our bobbin and our thread together. I have my bobbin threaded with my elastic out. I need to change the tension of my thread. I'm going to change it to tension of 6, and I'm going to increase stitch length to 3.5. Now that our machine is ready to go, we've got our fabric set up, our machine is set up, and this part is really fun and it takes quick to get done. So not too much longer now. Basically, you just sew along the lines that you've made. don't backstitch, so you don't want to sew and then go forwards and backwards. Just sew along your lines and make sure that you don't cut your elastics too short at the end. If you cut them too short, they're going to spring back and you're going to have a whole section of non-gathered fabric. Doesn't look the best. So just make sure you leave your elastics kind of sticking out at the end. And when you sew, just make sure you hold your elastic in the beginning, just to kind of allow it some give in the beginning of when you are starting to sew. All right, let's get on our sewing montage, and hopefully when I see you, our fabric shirred nicely. How it's looking so far. It's coming out so cute. So this is why you want to sew and draw the lines on the right side of your fabric, because on the wrong side you can see the elastic. So just always make sure that when you are sewing on the top side of your fabric, the right side. Now I have run out of white shirring elastic, so I've just reloaded with black. I'm not sure if it's going to show through. I'm quite intrigued to see. Obviously you can't see it on the right side, so I don't think it will be an issue, but let's try it out and see. I have just reloaded, and as I'm sewing, I'm sure if you try it as well, you'll find that it starts to get a little bit tricky to sew. Just as you are sewing, just stretch out your fabric as you're going along. So stretch it out like this if you need, or stretch it out like this. Don't just put your machine through, because you will sew over the gathers of the fabric like this. So just kind of stretch it out as you're sewing along, and then it makes it a little bit easier. It does sound very hectic on your machine, but I promise you it's okay. I've just finished all the shirring. I did 13 rows, and when I put it up against my bust like that, it fits perfectly. So 13 rows is more than enough. If you are having so much fun shirring and you just want to carry on, you can make this whole top shirt and it can be really cute. But I'm just going to stick with doing the little peplum style. So this is the right side of the fabric, and I was a bit concerned that you were going to see the black shirring elastic through, but you can't. So this is the right side of the fabric, and this is the wrong side. So this is where you can see the black and the white. I do like the look of the white. I think it blends in a little bit better, but it is what it is. So that is the wrong side of the fabric, and this is the right side of the fabric. So now it's very stretchy, and I've still got all my elastic threads on the side. I'm going to sew it together. So what we're going to do, we are going to take the right side of the fabric, so where you can't see the shirring elastic, and you're going to fold it in half. So you should see the shirring elastic on both sides, and you are going to sew about a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance down the side of your top. And then we can serge it if you have a serger, or you can do a zigzag stitch along the edge. So let's do that. Just remember to replace your bobbin. You don't want to sew with your elastic. You want to put your thread bobbin back in. So before you sew your bodice pieces together, don't forget to change your machine back to a stitch length of 2.4 and your thread tension back to 4. I know I usually forget that, so just a little reminder. Before we reveal the top, we need to give it a good press. Make sure that you press over the shirring elastic and the little frill at the bottom. Make sure you press the hem, and I'll show you what it looks like on. that is the finished top, guys. This is shirring. How cool. I'm addicted to it now. Honestly, I just want to shirr everything. I think the peplum style is really trendy at the moment, so I'm obsessed. And the little frill at the top, so cute. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did give it a go, please can you share your tops that you've made? Just send it to me via Instagram. I'll put my username here, and please send it to me. I want to have a look at your creations. Don't be scared of trying new things. I have always wanted to try shirring, and it took me so long to actually just try, and now that I did it, I mean, this is my second time doing it, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just tried it out and figured it out as I went along. Thank you so much for all the love on all my previous videos as well. It's been really cool seeing people comment and engage and send me feedback. I really do like engaging with everybody, so please keep those coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am going to be uploading some more videos. I have some really cool ideas and I can't wait to just share them with you guys, so be on the lookout for that. Other than that, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.